Slayer Paladin and Spark Trooper for and Ajani Sunstriker, so lots of lifelink. And then he's got double strike and pumps in the form of Rumble Belt Malka and Ajani Caller of the Pride, both for pump and for double strike, and the Boros Charm again for double strike. So it looks like he's going to be trying to set up things like Spark Trooper, Rumble Belt Malka Boros Charm, take 20. Yeah. And we're in game 3. They're tied one game apiece.
Yeah.
Not a lot in the sideboard other than possibly Reverberate, and I don't even know if Reverberate's for this matchup, but maybe you Reverberate a Sphinx's Revelation.
Oh wow! I mean, that would be excellent if you can pull it off.
Right, if you can pull it off, but you might just be set. It's hard to be sure exactly the pace that he normally plays at, because it looks like he's very much a weird kind of creature-based combo deck.
So we started out, Keane has just 2 basic lands, Mountain and Plains, no play. His first play actually is on turn 3 going to be a Boros Reckoner. Meanwhile, Christensen off 2 lands has played Augur Bolus, finding a War Leader's Helix.
Kind of surprised if he's playing this much lifelink, not to be playing make relationship. What is the guy? Soulbound. The Soulbound.
Oh, Near Heath Pilgrim.
Yes, Near Heath Pilgrim, because he could combo with his Boros Reckoner and Boros Charm to gain infinite life.
Right.
Just go real big.
So we see a Slayer Stronghold from Keane Stewart. He's going to use that just to pump his Boros Reckoner. It's a very, I was going to say that play is going to get hurt really hard by Azorius Charm, and Christensen does have it. That's going to be a time walk.
Yeah. So what do you think about that play right there? It looked like he might not have had a lot of other great options.
I mean, if you don't have another option, I'd say go for it. But
he's a little bit stuck on white mana, right?
Yeah.
He only plays. I guess he's got 15 sources of white, 15 sources of red, but
it does look like almost all his creatures require double white.
Right.
You see Sunstriker, Fiendslayer Paladin, and Silverblade Paladin, all double whites. And his hand just looks to be full of Boros Reckoners. He has 3 Boros Reckoners. So yeah. I'm not sure about that pump there when he had the option of just casting a second Boros Reckoner.
Maybe he was playing around Supreme Verdict more than Azorius Charm, but it does seem like maybe you just can't play around Supreme Verdict in this position.
Yeah, I mean, if Supreme Verdict only gets you a 2-for-1 in this position, I think I'm probably okay with that. Like, I would try to not get 3-for-1 by Supreme Verdict.
It's not even a real 2-for-1 either, because that Augur Bolus is a card at this point. Like, it is having an impact. It could potentially, block. It could potentially block, serve as a chump blocker if nothing else, but possibly.
So some things
possibly blocking a Paladin.
I think that are interesting about Stewart's deck are some of the cards that he's not playing. He's playing a straight Boros deck. He is not playing any burn spells in it, including like War Leader's Helix or Searing Spear. He also has no Burning Earths in the sideboard, despite having 14 main deck basic lands.
Yeah. He's got Searing Spear in the sideboard, but this is certainly not the matchup where he would bring it in. Right. Burning Earth, on the other hand, could be absolutely fantastic. He does not have it, but if he had been able to board in Burning Earth, he could still win this game. If you just drop Burning Earth on this position, Christensen would not be able to play very many more spells the rest of the game.
So finally, Christensen does let a Boros Reckoner hit the table, but in response, on his end step, Christensen makes a Restoration Angel and does find a Sphinx's Revelation off the Augur of Bolus.
And he still has a negate in case things get too crazy. He certainly doesn't know the Stewart doesn't have Burning Earth, and anybody who shows up with a double strike lifelink combo deck, you have to give them respect. You have to imagine anything is in their range.
Right. So we see a Slayer Stronghold activation just on the Boros Reckoner to give it +2/+0. I don't believe there is still the War Leader's Helix in Christensen's hand, but he's going to go ahead and take 5. I don't think he really wants to Helix the Boros Reckoner.
Right. So, I mean, certainly Christensen has a lot of great tools and is ahead, but the game is not by any means locked up. No. Oh, wow. Detention Sphere. That was certainly the one of the best possible cards he could draw in that position.
Yeah. Detention Sphere.
Now he's got him on a real short clock. He's got, the board beats him in 3 turns. The War Leader's Helix speeds it up by another turn.
Right, and he had a Pillar of Flame to go with it, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And combine that with Sphinx's Revelation to give himself more options and a negate to protect himself against anything crazy happening. Combined with Stewart still not having a second white mana. At this point... Oh, okay.
This is Spark Trooper. Okay, well that certainly turns a race around.
Well, yeah, I mean, can't negate that.
It makes it longer, yeah.
It doesn't have the mana for the Helix. Pillar of Flame's a sorcery.
All right, so he's taking it.
sick. That is awesome. A few more Spark Troopers. Hey, who knows? A few more Spark Troopers. You could put in some work.
Yeah. So yeah, we see the Spark Trooper. Now we're at 9 and 17, so closer. I don't believe he has another Spark Trooper. We see a second revelation drawn for Christensen.
At this point, Christensen's got to be looking a lot more towards the Sphinx's revelation just to gain some life.
Right.
You know, like, whoa, who knows?
Okay,
I just
yeah.
got drained for 7, and my negate didn't help me. Let's just make sure. Let's get this under control here.
Yeah, it's like his best defense is to. I think what he's doing is to hold up War Leader's Helix for another Spark Trooper, and then if he doesn't see one, to Revelation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you have to be worried when you see a Spark Trooper, right? Because no one just plays one Spark Trooper. When you see one, you have to assume there's 3 more in the deck.
Yeah, he definitely has all the right tools, though, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. But at the same time, it's wow. Boros Reckoner, you don't want a War Leader's Helix that.
Nope. Absolutely not. So
particularly since it'll take down his Angel. You know, the 4 damage will get redirected.
yeah, he's looking at doing it anyway.
I mean, it seems like what you want to do is just Sphinx for 3 and just don't worry, be happy. There we go.
Yep. And he does go with that play. He's going to put himself up to 12. I mean, and this is where blue, white, red flash does what Esper can't do, is that Joseph can have the option just to race here instead of actually answering all these cards.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the advantages to having all these burn spells, is that at a certain point you can switch modes and be like, you know what? Let's go aggro control.
You see Clifftop Retreat, 7th land into play. He's going to continue the race by hitting Keane down to 10 with the Restoration Angel. One of the things with Stewart's deck is the curve of it seems to be hitting him a little hard right now. You know, it's like he has 5 lands in play, but he still, for the most part, is limited to 1 spell a turn. I know that's a function of him not having his white mana.
He does, I mean, even though he hasn't had his white mana, he's been able to play a card every turn.
Right.
This is one of the risks when you play only 24 land in a deck that contains dozens of 3-drops and a number of 4-drops. So he has a second white. He's got a lot more options now. What do you think he's going to play?
Well, that opens up the path to what? A Johnny and I believe what looks to be a Silverblade Paladin? Or some sort of Paladin. One
the
of the
Fiend
two
Slayer
Paladins.
Paladin.
The Fiend Slayer Paladin.
Yeah, the Silverblade he could have played anyway. Is that right? No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And we see Spark Trooper cast here. Now, of note, he does have Boros Charm mana up to go with that Spark Trooper.
It would be pretty hot if the War Leader's Helix gets thwarted by a Boros Charm for Indestructible.
Yeah, and Christensen does not have enough mana to hold up negate there.
Well, he does if he plays Snapcaster Mage, as we're about to see.
Oh, just to...
Oh,
so
no,
Snapcaster
you're
Mage
right.
on Azorius Charm.
Yep, and Azorius Charm does actually play
work.
around the Boros Charm.
Yep, so Azorius is going to go ahead and put the Spark Trooper back on top. Boros Reckoner...
And he's actually threatening lethal now. Because he's going to swing back for 6, plus he has War Leader's Helix.
Which he knows about.
Right.
The question is if he can do anything about it. I'm not positive he can. He's going to go ahead.
Make him taste it.
He's going to Maka the Boros Reckoner.
Boom. The Reckoner does not die, though.
Now, interestingly, if there was one more land in play for Stewart, he would have Maka.
That Reckoner should be
Boros
tapped.
Yeah, he has Maka Boros Charm if he had one more land in play.
The Reckoner should be tapped.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, he didn't Slayer it. So I hope that wasn't an accident, you know, like hopefully.
Yeah,
there we
it's
go.
tapped. I don't know about the line for Keane, though, because I think he's, I mean, as you said, he's dead on the board. And he knows about the War Leader's Helix. So we'll see if Christensen puts that together and start with the swing for 6. Looks like he has found it.
Well, he didn't really have any other options.
That's
so
fair.
maybe he was, hopefully he was just hoping that Christensen would forget about War Leader's Helix.
And he's going to go for the dome with War Leader's Helix.
He does, and that should be the match.
And there we go. Joseph Christensen, Blue White Red Flash, defeating Keane Stewart's Boros aggro deck 2-1. In what I think turned out to be a closer game than I had initially anticipated there. The Spark Trooper really actually pulled a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is an unorthodox approach that can have us, you know, it's a high impact card. when you play with more slower, bigger cards.
Yeah.
Active player, finish your turn. There are 5 additional turns.
But
Judges,
Christensen
program
plays very
round.
deliberately, very carefully, and secures the win. Yeah, I'm not even sure I would call this Boros aggro. This is kind of a
It's like Boros mid-range.
a combo deck. Like it's kind of a mid-rangey combo deck that just does real big swingy things.
Yeah. The card I'm interested in is a